and off we go.
You got it. So welcome, everybody. For most of you have been here, and some of you may be new. And so the goal here is, again, that in the world of developmental disabilities, we want to create the face, the name, and the need awareness by educating our legislators while in their communities, in their offices, talk to their legislative assistants, communicate in whatever way you can. Stephanie will be telling some incredible success stories through the event today. As you can tell, I've had a brutal cold and I continue to get better from it. But I have to say, the truth and the honesty that families have been sharing is starting to have a ripple effect. It is starting to be heard. And there's a lot that needs to be heard in order to make sure we're heard. So we're not done. This is really an ongoing effort. You know, we've done things like recently, like publish a legislative calendar that shows the process for how things happen. And so part of what today can also touch on is, are we ahead of the game, behind the game? Are we in the game as far as communicating the needs while those bills, that legislative language is being developed?
So what you mean by legislative calendar is that the House has put this document out with all of the dates of things that are going to happen so that we can kind of have our head wrapped around, time points, right?
Right. So you have to, it's like turning in a paper. If you don't turn in the bill at a certain date, there's not very likely much is going to happen with, or they might not even accept the bill language because it's too late, because it has to go through a process. So just to know why it's happening now, why you're talking to your legislative delegations, why you're reaching out to your legislature, why you're creating those flyers, is because that's creating a buzz, an interest point, a concern. And then there are people that are plugging in leadership to have these conversations, to have this, why are these people talking about this, with some clarifying information. So I can positively say, at least the ears are open.
Okay, I can't take it anymore. We have to go into the good stuff.
So go to the good stuff.
So let's go to the good stuff. So this week was the first delegation meeting where these faces on the screen were flashed right in front of each other. We went to Sarasota delegation, and I don't know the number count. Does anybody anybody remember how many people of us were there? Anyways, we got to meet each other.
We hit the 20.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was the most incredible thing to see what we're talking about here. I know we've kind of like dipped in out with our appointments with our legislators and gone to a delegation meeting here and there, but now we were all together in the same spot, and it was so cool. You could feel the energy.
Can you show the picture?
Yeah, I could work that out. But first I want to bring on Holly. You ready? My friend Holly came.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
sweet. My friend Holly came and spoke for the first time, pretty much ever, I think. So you can tell that story. And I just wanted to have her describe her experience. So game on, Holly.
Yes, ma'am. So it was powerful. I mean, it's great. And like what you're describing, Stephanie, I mean, I think they heard us, and they thanked us, and they were moved by the stories. And it's exactly what you were saying, Tom. We're telling the truth, and the truth, it's like if they keep hearing the truth over and over, and they have families and kids themselves, so they're moved by these stories. And if we keep telling the truth, we're making a difference. But the more of us that keep saying the same thing, then they're going to hear us. We got to be louder. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. And I wish I could stay, but I have a party that I'm on my way to for all my employees. So, but I appreciate
That's all I
everybody
think.
in this group, and we can do this together. Okay, so you guys will see more of me as well. Okay.
Thank
Okay, wait,
you.
one more thing, one more thing. What did
Yes,
they
ma'am.
say to you? I remember they said stuff, but it was in the moment. You
They
had like,
told us, they thanked us for coming. They asked us to come to the next delegation meeting. They apologized for how atrocious the system already is. And they did say that they are aware, and that they said that there was stuff that was on their radar. And I think that their intention is there for sure. And I felt very warmly received by everybody that was up there, and they were genuine. So so yeah, I don't know if I'm missing anything, Stephanie.
no, that's good enough. That's like about my summary. I remember them saying,
Thank you, Holly.
yeah,
Yes,
thanks,
you're
Holly.
welcome.
Have fun at your party.
Okay, thank
Um,
you. Okay, all right, bye-bye.
I remember them saying, you know, something, or they definitely said, please come to the Charlotte delegation. So that's really cool. That we got an invite, like not, and that they said that they heard, the issue had come up, and then one of the things that they said is, oh, I know. So, I forgot his name. Broders, does that sound familiar to Sarasota people? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Reuters?
he asked me how old my son was. Like, how old is your son? And I was like, he's 14. He just had a birthday. And was like, you know, I've got kids right around that age. And then I had him, you know, like he connected and saw how that worked out. And it was just really nice. And everybody that came and spoke in the group, Tim, oh my gosh, Tim that came and spoke beside Melissa, that was incredible. It's just so neat. I just wanted to talk about that delegation piece, because this is what it's about. It is about the families making that personal connection with their legislators and recognizing we're not alone. We were actually there together, and it was just so cool for me.
And
That's that.
and JJ and Allison are with us. And I don't know if JJ had any prepared remarks, but I know amongst our group, we are so grateful for your voice and for what you and your mom have been doing, and the press you've been receiving. And you know, we want everybody to know the truth, and we are so grateful that you're out there. And I wonder if y'all want to share any experiences in your last round of public comments.
Tom.
Allison's about to speak. Hold on 1 second.
Thanks. So thank you to you and Stephanie for what you're doing with this, because this is that finally this is being heard, because it's getting louder and louder. And while and I'd heard bits about the Sarasota meeting, and that's fantastic. Although I will say that if we all disappear now, they'll forget about us. We need to keep, you know, that part of this is they don't like us showing up and spoiling their happy little meetings where everybody's getting up saying thank you to everybody, and then we get up with our sob stories. So I'm thrilled that this is going on, and keep going on. We've done Brevard, we did this week sometime, I can't remember.
Keep going, y'all.
Yeah, keep going, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
We did Flagler, we've got Seminole next week, Monday, we've got, what have we got on Wednesday? We've got Hardy on Wednesday, which is Albritton and Kaylee Tuck. So they're pretty important. And then Thursday, I'm hoping, if anybody's up near Jacksonville, got it written down here. So it's their delegation meeting. It's not too late to sign up to speak if anybody wants to speak. There's going to be a group up there. There's somebody with a story of being on the wait list, I think, and being in crisis and being not really being in crisis according to APD. And it's in the afternoon, and there should be a good turnout for that. And one of the people, in fact, I think he's the chair of the delegation, is Duggan, who sponsored the pilot bill. I'm sure doesn't really know anything about it, but he was the House sponsor of the pilot bill, and we're going to go up there and say, because we tried to meet with him all last session and could not get a meeting with him at all. So we're going to say we've come this far because we wanted to make our voices heard, and with him sponsoring the pilot program, the managed care.
And speaking of voices, the work that you all have done in the compare and contrast between someone served and someone not, that you just
Oh,
mentioned,
yeah. So with the
that
Florida Voices of Health,
Yeah, they're amazing.
powerful, and thank you, because again, you're telling the truth, and that is so important, and the comparison between the two provides such a compelling contrast that I hope that this story ends in a happy ending here, and that we can get things accomplished, and that Mr. College Man over there is having a good time, and that we we can also be part of the positive outcome here, because what you and JJ and every other family is doing is sacrificing your personal time, your energy to commit not only to your family, but to other families. And so I think all of us would just like to say thank you for caring, for speaking, for being, that political science interest there. I see it right now, every moment, every
Yep.
fiber of you, and that concept of we the people, for the people, by the people is exactly what you all are doing. And it is the most little d democratic thing we could possibly do. And it's such a demonstration of the importance of being part of the system instead of just sitting on the sidelines hoping. So I hope that you also know that we have no intention of getting quieter. And that the goal here is to continue to build the flyers, to build the message, to build the momentum, figure out some things to do during the session, align with groups that are already up there, like on DD Day and things like that. And that, remember, this is a very organic, family-driven, non-denominational, non-political, just kind of a thing, and that Allison, JJ, and Holly, and Amanda, and Stephanie, and everybody else that's doing this, this is how it happens. This is how we really do make it work. And so the other pieces of it are parts of the process that have to do with how do we change the systems? How do we do that? And Alan is with us today. And the session is rapidly coming to us. So, Alan, you there live and in person?
Yes. And they've been putting a lot of your delegation meetings on the Florida channel, so I'm able at the end of the day to go back and watch them. And it takes a while, but it's good when we finally get to our issue. And the Brevard County one was really good. I think the message, I've started mimicking JJ with his toll road analogy. I've actually said that to a couple people now. I think that's right on. I mean, someone who goes on a toll road after 15 times, they get a break, and the funding would have funded the wait list. So it's kind of, whoever thought of that was a really good one. I did want to show one thing that's really frustrating, and it's got to be frustrating to all of you. Can you make it so I can share my screen real quick?
Oh, that's me.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
You're the screensaver.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make that work because I know how to do things.
Well, I can just talk if
No. I just figured it out. Can you do it?
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
we go.
So we were looking at last year about what happened. And, you know, historically, especially after Bush cleared the wait list, we were running deficits every year. But the last years, we've been running surplus after surplus after surplus. And I know this is going to make people angry, but you really can't tell until 3 months after session because they certify forward money because you got 3 months to pay bills.
So
But-
July 1st is the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, but you got to wait 3 more months before you decide what happened. with
August,
the budget.
September, and then October. So this is
Yeah.
just coming out, right?
So it came out, and I'm just talking about one piece of the APD budget. But if you notice right here, the general revenues were 742 million. Federal match was 1.2 billion, and the total is 1.9 billion. They reverted, that means they sent back 59 million and 98 million with the match. So you're talking about a reversion of 157 million.
Who do they send that to? Where does it go?
It just goes back into the budget. I mean, it just
Oh.
doesn't get spent.
To the toll
No,
workers or
federal money
whatever?
doesn't get realized because we got to have the match to draw it down. So
Yeah.
that just never happened.
But that's not it. Okay, so during the year, now I know that they wouldn't be interested in this, but during the year they changed the match rate. You know how it says 37.49% is matched to 60.51%. Well, actually, the match changed the percentage, and there was actually another $110 million that could have been matched for 294 million. But I understand they put that in reserves, and it really doesn't show up anywhere, but because they didn't allocate it initially, but it sprung forward out of the blue. If you were an advocate and were in crisis, you could have used that money. But I don't push that issue because I understand that wasn't the allocation at the beginning, it just became available. And then you look at
So Alan, let me stop you for 1 second
Yeah.
here. So what you just said is a couple $100 million that didn't happen in the 150 million that didn't happen in the top column that we sent back almost 60 million and didn't get 98 million drawdown, which was we missed 157 million dollars worth of funding that could have been used.
yeah, the 157 million, no one's going to disagree. There's nothing you can say about that. That was money that could have been spent on the waiver. Okay. Then you get to this other one, and I don't push it because it popped out of the blue. They didn't allocate it initially, but it kind of became available. If you were an advocate like us, we would have said, oh, that would have been another 294 million. But no, we're not going to count that. And then you get down.
That's 500 million.
Then you get down to room and let's see. The summary of funding, okay, there's money called back of the bill. And what happened the year before, they didn't spend it all. So they put it at the back of a bill, the budget bill, so you can use it next year, which is kind of crazy because they're running surpluses. But that money was still available. The back of the bill money was 117 million. So that could have been another 321 million.
So we're up to 800 million.
Well, I wouldn't count this, the 294. I'm not counting that. I think it's unfair.
600.
I think it's
Okay,
unfair,
so
but
500 million.
an advocate, you have to explain yourself, but that's okay. The back of the bill money, that means money they didn't spend the year before they moved over into this year. They didn't spend, of course, because they had surplus this year. So that would have been another 321 million. And that's mainly it. But one of the other things that I thought was kind of terrible is the IFS money, the individual and family support. They returned $3 million of that. That's what a lot of people on the wait list get if you need something. And providers sometimes have contracts so they can get things quick. But that seems like an awful lot of money when it's just one-time expenses if people on the waiver need things. And lastly, you have the dental services of 8.5 million. It'll be the second year in a row that it isn't spent. They still haven't done the RFP. And plus the 3 million, so 11.5 million in dental services has not been bid out. And so that's mainly one that I wanted to say. That's a frustrating thing. And so we're bringing that up to staffers because, you know, the concern is people in the back rooms are thinking we have too much money because they're returning it. And it's not the case. What's actually happening is, and I'm learning this over time as I talk to providers, is they are running deficits and they're making up for it because a lot of them got the employee tax credit. You heard of that, right? And also PPP money. So not only are they managing their system that they're running, their operation, they're also managing the debt through this money they put to the side because of loans and other things. And the problem is every time you add a direct support professional, you're adding to your debt because the waiver services do not equate to the amount you get for the service. And the worst part of it all, I think, is I think that, and I'm learning new, I'm kind of new at this. I'm not like a lot of you veterans. I've been on the sidelines until 2 years ago. The more disability you have, the worse it is for you.
Yeah.
I mean, if it seems like our system is geared to people that don't have the extreme behavior issues or do not have the extreme medical issues.
Or both.
Or both, yeah, or both. And so it's frustrating, but we're meeting everyone we can. I'll tell you, I feel like you guys are doing a lot of the body blows out there as we meet them. They're hearing you. We're sending, I just sent the Brevard tape to our lobbyists where JJ and Allison did a good job. I'm looking forward to the Sarasota tape coming in. It hasn't been posted yet, but I know they did that on Florida Channel. And I met yesterday with the appropriations chair, Broxson. And I think one of the things we need to do when we meet with people is there's a misconception of people who aren't so engaged in this where they understand it so well that when you say agency with persons with disability, they think all disabilities. They think people with mental illness. They think veterans. If you're coming home, if you're in a wheelchair, you're part of the APD program. And really, it's about four or five disabilities they know of and a couple they probably never heard of. And I think that's why we get discounted sometimes because they're providing the disabilities all through the budget. You see Veterans Court, you see this, and they don't understand that we're a unique population, that genetics and the legislature is funding this to keep them in the community. And I think that is, and I've started when I've talked to people, start off with what APD is and who they actually represent. They're not representing all people with disabilities. It's a very small group right now. It's 55,000 people. It's actually probably more. And they are, I think they're kind of surprised because no one goes to the disabilities 101 with them, and they understand that. And the next thing that I find is I tell them, they go, how much do we give the ARC? I go, you give us nothing. I'm not advocating for the ARC. Nowhere will I say the ARC should get some money. We want money to go in the high budget because that creates choice and it creates capacity. The only way ARC will get money is someone chooses an ARC program, but that's down the line. And I think as they sit there and listen to providers coming up and saying, I need $7 million for my disability program, they think they solve their community's problems. Really, someone gets a special treat, basically, a $7 million, $3 million. And the interesting thing is that money could have been doubled if it would have gone in the I budget. And plus, it would have been choice. It would have said you had to be good to get the money because someone has to choose you. And so that's been my education this week as I've been talking to legislators and trying to find out where we're not connected. But
Well,
you
Alan?
are connecting. I'm telling you.
Thank you, Alex.
JJ's name comes up every time I talk to someone, it seems like.
That's so,
I'm
Alan.
glad
You
you don't
know,
realize you're a flaming liberal, Allison and JJ. No, I'm
that's
kidding.
all right. Listen, Alan. Before you go, the
I'm not going, I'm staying.
He's staying.
Listen,
He's here. He
well,
said
let
he's
me-
ours for the whole meeting.
let me make this point.
Yeah.
So you did that. ARC produced that wonderful social services estimating conference flyer that took a complicated issue and summarized it in a way that was quite palatable to a lot of people and has become a very helpful instrument of education.
Can
What I heard you say,
can I say something about the estimating conference?
Yeah.
Yes, please. I want to know how that's going.
Yeah, I I don't think it's gonna happen this year. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think they have other fish to fry.
Right.
But I think we will get it. And I think if managed care comes, and I know a lot of people are fighting against it, that they can't do it without an estimating conference, because otherwise you're doing the profit on the backs of people with disabilities. When they do the nursing homes, they actually include profit in the estimating conference. I didn't know that until a couple weeks ago. I was kind of surprised. And whether managed care comes or not, I know it's starting to creep up. You're starting to see stuff about it. But the estimating conference when I've talked to legislators, and I talked to Snyder, Representative Snyder, can't remember where he's from. And when I brought that up, I said, listen, every other Medicaid program, you're deciding how much it costs to sustain except ours. And I go, so what does that mean when you have inflation and all, and people are spending gas and there's cost associated with staff, liabilities going up, all these things. What do you think? Who do you think's bearing the brunt? Because people aren't going into nursing homes. Parents will do anything to keep their kid out of nursing home. You're screwing the parents. You're screwing the family members. That's what's happening. And they need to understand that. Until there's an estimating conference, they're basically telling families, yeah, we really don't care. You'll take on as much burden as you need to. And it's just the way it is. So
Well, it is helpful if we can continue to provide solutions that sometimes take time to become actions, and things like the estimating conference are part of that. The other thing is, is it possible to produce some kind of piece that may be able to further educate about what the GD population is?
I think that'd be great.
And is there any chance maybe in your shop that we can help spread the word that is professionally refined for us?
I'll talk to Dita. The key thing, it has to be less than 2 minutes or so. It really can't be long. But
I'm looking like
getting it
a
tight.
handout, a flyer, something we can email, something we can send, something we can hand somebody that is here's the population we're talking about, because they're hearing from us, and we may not be talking about the definition of DD and all that. We're talking about Johnny and Billy and things. And maybe part of it is that we go, here's what we're talking about, and it becomes an important clarity, because what is helpful to us is to kind of get from the trenches. Here's kind of what's going on, and understanding that you just explained to us that there are millions and millions of dollars that were sent back unutilized because a program had run in deficit for so long. Now it's running in a surplus because it's actually slowed down so much to delay.
That's not why. They're running
Yeah.
they're running a surplus because they're not spending the money.
Right.
That's as simple
Right.
as it is. Let me tell you, you give me that money, I can spend it. And
That's
I
my whole
was an
point.
agency head. I was an agency head for Rick Scott, and I was for Charlie Crist, and I was for a short time for DeSantis. And let me tell you, it's embarrassing to return money when you have needs.
Right.
It's embarrassing. I would have been so embarrassed to return money when I was running the foster care GAL program, because it means I could have helped people with this money, but instead I'm giving it back to the government. And not only that, the legislature gave me the money because they wanted to help people, and I'm not helping them.
So I guess the connection is between those 2 points is to get first to say there's money available that's not being utilized because of it ain't being utilized. How do we activate those systems so these poor families
I say one thing, I'm not hitting it too hard yet, because I don't want them to say, okay, we have enough money, we don't need any new money, because that's not the case.
I see the
Because the
strategy.
challenge
Clearly.
is the money's
Adam.
insufficient, the rate's insufficient to sustain itself because people are running deficits. So I'm kind of holding off talking about there's
Okay.
money being reverted and stuff like that. But come January, I want to look and see where they are, because I don't want them to say, all this money that got reverted, that was all that you asked for last year. Well, why don't you just use it this year? I mean, that's not going to help.
Now, I know
Alan.
there's also, one last thing, Alan, there's also, I know about OPAGA, which is, which kind of does programmatic analysis and gives the legislature a report on that program. Is that a fair way to describe it?
Yeah. OPAGA,
And-
OPAGA is a good thing.
And so
Opaga is good. Opaga, what are you talking about? What's Opaga?
OPAGA is kind of like a fact-finding information analysis for the legislature. How does the program working? Is it meeting its needs? Is it hitting its mark? And
Oh, so like the estimating conference, like
it's
the
like a
same sort of
scorecard.
thing?
Well,
A scorecard.
Well, let me say this,
Mhm.
a letter's been written for OPAGA to look at, an estimating conference. I think
Oh.
this is not the year for it, but what happens is the Senate president sends it to this group, the research group that the House and Senate both own. They're supposed to be independent, wink, wink, and they come out with a report and often make recommendations. You
Okay.
kind of want to do that when you kind of know what the results are going to be, because let me tell you, they pretend like it's not political, but there are some politics in it.
Yeah, we know.
Alan. Stephanie.
Heavy, hey, Heavy.
Hi. A quick notes. Alan, I left a hard copy to the participants on the Sarasota delegation meeting yesterday of the survey of the provider's need. Second, Fino, I thought about you because they are asking providers for input in the managed care. Please make sure that you submit those that input to the families. Every time, and yesterday was not the exception, I leave hard copy of all the studies that there are of moms getting physically, mentally, and emotionally sick, because that's a point that I don't think it is known. So it is not, it is of both, we know it, but that's the point, we know it. Not necessarily they know that this is not only about the individuals, but also of the impact that it has in the moms. The last question, Stephanie, the stories are going to come out Monday? And
The
in
sto-
email?
The stories are gonna come out Monday. What does that mean?
The stories, the electronic stories that are going to be sent to all legislators and
Yes.
governors. Nice. Thank you for
Actually, wait, no, that's not my yes to say. My yes is in the corner here. Hey, yes. You want to chime in, Liz?
Hey, I sent out an email to you guys this morning asking for some input and clarification so that I could go ahead and move forward, because I have it, they'll all open automatically and everything's laid out. But I just had some questions about verbiage, so I went ahead and ran it past the group. Melissa reached back out to me in our little group email that everybody CC'd in, just to have a couple of sentences. And being just generally newer to this, I want to make sure that if we're going to have something included that's going to go out the exact thing every time, that it can be something actionable or something meaningful. And I just wanted to get some clarification there. So if you want to check that email and give me some feedback, then I will take that and start sending.
Wonderful.
I love you very much. Thank you. Speaking of you being kind of new to this, you also were at the delegation meeting, and that was your very first interaction with the legislator or four. Can you give us a glimpse of how that went for you? I'd like other families that maybe were nervous like you were to hear what you had to say.
Not as nerve-wracking as what I thought it would be. I was not going there intending to speak. It was not what I was not prepared and did not have due diligence and research laid out the way that I typically would have, but I went in and told our family's story in a way that was coherent and meaningful, and they heard us. They responded more than they did to our group verbally significantly. It was different than what everybody else was met with of time's up, bring it in
Wrap
for a
it up.
landing. So it actually, it's something that anybody can do.
That's wonderful
Yeah.
to hear. And I'd also say that
I'm sorry to cut, but I gotta run. So I just want to tell everybody that thank you for giving
Thanks,
me the
Vino.
opportunity to be on this meeting, and we'll catch you on the next run.
Take
have a nice
pictures of your
tonight,
pizza,
brother.
send
All
it
right,
to
yeah.
us, you know.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So-
Yesenia has had her hand up for a hot minute here. Yesenia, did you want to unmute?
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey,
Hi. So I've been listening. Okay, there you go. I've been listening for a little bit. Hi. Sorry, I came in a little bit late. I'm not sure, to be honest, how I got the Zoom because I was looking for it in my email, but I got it. So a couple things. I'm a self-advocate first as a person with a developmental disability. I come from both sides of the coin as a person with a disability developmentally and a service provider. And so it's using my experiences, what I've lived, and what I've been through, if you will, and using all of that with my certification to provide services. One of the things that I heard was about, well, I should say this. In my particular case, being on the Medicaid waiver, I've been on the Medicaid waiver forever that I can remember, and it has been very limiting for me as someone that has always worked, and I'm an entrepreneur, have my business with disability programs and training, so I get it. I get it from many different angles. And one of the things that I've been advocating for a long time is my services include independent living skills, employment services. I assist with benefits, applying and reapplying for Medicaid waivers, Social Security, you name it. And I help families and individuals do that. My services, however, are for all disabilities, not just developmental disabilities. That is one of the things that sets me apart from Medicaid waiver, in addition to the inclusiveness of the services, right? It's for all people across the board, regardless of the disability. A couple years ago, I submitted for appropriation of funds with a local representative and a state representative, which is how, according to the appropriations of funds, that's kind of how it was run at the time, at least. Long story short, it was denied. My appropriations for funds was denied from my disability programs and training because it was considered that the services that I provide were too close to Medicaid waiver, and Medicaid waiver already provides such services. Again, of the independent living skills, benefits counseling, social skills, job coaching, etc. And so I have a huge problem with that because we are leaving out, yes, a large group of people with disabilities and their family members and parents that need services that are not getting services. And so we're kind of, I guess, putting individuals with disabilities and their needs in particular groups, or exempting them from such groups. Therefore, we run into those of us in the middle. And I say us because I'm a part of that that frame of work where we're in the middle. We're either too high functioning.
It's very rude,
Or
right?
we are too high functioning, or we don't belong to a certain category for services. And then what are we supposed to do? Or we're told, which I personally have been told many times, because I have a developmental disability, oh, you're going to end up in a nursing home, right? Or, oh, you're going to end up in a group home. I'm like, no, you're going to end up in one of those places. Literally, because could I at some point? Absolutely. And that's perfectly fine. I'm not against it, but you're nobody to tell me where I'm going to end up. I'm going to tell you where I'm going to end up. And that's, again, it's about options. Do we have other options? Do we have housing? Do we have, can we
where do
live
you
with
live,
family?
Yesenia? What county are you in? Like, what area of the state?
Broward County.
Broward County.
In
So
Broward
I happen
County.
to have a friend of mine who's also in the middle and is also looking to advocate and has been talking with local legislators about services for people in the middle. I think if there's, just like this is just about gathering family voices. Maybe that's something I'm sure you guys could explore and continue to say exactly what you said to your local legislator. That because that's what my friend did. But anybody else? Nope, can't hear you.
That's absolutely true. I am in this area. I've been advocating forever and ever. But I was saying with the appropriation of funds, it's the mindset. That's what I wanted to get to. Is the mindset of those people that are the power that be, that they think, this is what people with developmental disabilities need. And unless you talk to me, unless you talk to people like myself with my diagnosis and parents as such, that's when you know what we really need and the real difference. So all of that to say, I'm new to this group. I literally saw it in my email. I will put my information in the chat if anybody needs anything, information, if I can be a resource, a voice, an advocate. Put me in Tallahassee, put me in front of the president. It's on.
I invite you to also become one of go in and do the one-page flyer thing, because those faces, those names, the fact is you are an entrepreneur. You're not just a label. You're not just a single program. You're a person that has had to navigate a complex system, integrate it together, and provide those kinds of supports to others. So thank you for that. But it's true that what each family and each individual needs is unique to them. And it's not just a program. It's a complication myriad of integrated programs. And that actually is part of the challenges that is so darn complicated sometimes. But, where we're still at is the stories are what changes the knowledge. What I was saying when we first started is,
hang on, she's brand new. So what we've done, Yesenia and anybody else who's brand new, is the mission with our group is to go speak with our local legislators to make that personal connection with them. And we have in the chat box a link to a form which kind of gives you the layout for a one-pager, so you can go to your legislator, and it's pretty too. I made it. It's beautiful. So you just hand it to them and have the conversation, extend the conversation from there, and it kind of makes that sometimes awkward moment more meaningful. So Tom was saying we got to focus on the stories. All right, go.
And so what I was talking about is that you're a perfect example of a local resource that can really educate and inform legislators about opportunities, needs, the breadth and width and scope of developmental disabilities. I have a daughter who has a master's degree in rehab and mental health counseling, but requires total physical care. That's very different than somebody that may have the physical abilities, but may have intellectual challenges or autism or other things that affect them. So the breadth and the width of these stories, because not only is it, let me tell you my story, it is, let me be a resource to you, so that when you're trying to understand this program or these programs and how they actually work, what a better person to share that with than yourself. And so being able to help tell the stories, offer the solutions, not just that really does make a huge difference. And so the story form is a pretty simple way to plug that in, and that's in the chat. You found our link, so you'll find the web page. It's on the Facebook page. It's there too, and that is not the end all. It's the great introductory business card. I'm a local constituent. You're working for me. Here's what I need. Let me help you by educating you. Because what we're really trying to clarify is there's a big difference between someone that doesn't know and understand a program, and our stories help make that real, than someone that knows, has been educated, and doesn't care. We're going to assume you care. We're going to assume that you want to help, and we are going to assume that we can help you better understand the population that, you know, Alan described, they don't even understand developmental disabilities as far as in the whole breadth and width of disabilities itself. You're talking about they have no idea about I'm a person that has skills, abilities, interests, careers, intelligence, and things more than just a program. And creating that awareness, creating that knowledge can be hopefully a positively haunting thing, that they remember you in that moment of decision, in that moment of question. They go, you know what? I met this woman and she really had a lot going on, but she still had needs. And we should take those folks and help them, not create roadblocks. And so that's what the stories are for. And the Facebook page is a great place to do it. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, if you're on Facebook, come join our group. I think you'll find there are a lot of middles that want to they need some supports, maybe not what my boys need, but really good friend of mine feels just as passionately as you do. I'm so glad you came on the call. So JJ, okay, yeah, JJ and Allison, you're still here. Allison sent me something. So the one thing I didn't circle back to with the Sarasota delegation, my God, that was so amazing. Let's do that again. And there is a delegation meeting, Allison, November 28th.
November 28th. I'm still trying to get a speaker form for it. So when I do, I'll give you the link. I'll find out the address. I'll find out all the details. It has got it's got almost every rep and every senator in the state in this one delegation. It's got a lot of good senators and reps, and the one
And
rep
it's in Miami, right?
In Miami, but Danny Perez is in this delegation.
Which one? What day is it?
November 28th.
Tuesday, November 28th. I think it starts at 9. I'm still, as I say, I'm emailing a phone in trying to get the speaker request form, and it's but as soon as I get the form and where we submit it, I'll let everybody know. And if we can show up in force to that meeting, then
is that right?
I've got the form. You want me to send it to you?
Oh yes, and
this
Can you put
the,
it in the chat, the details, anyone, so that everybody can?
You might have to email it to you
Wait,
and you put it in the chat.
I can save it. This is the one on Tuesday, November 28th at 10:30 to 4 o'clock.
That's a nice
Miami
open
Dade
window.
College Wolfson campus.
that sounds right. If there's Chev Jones, there's Ileana Garcia, there is.
Yeah, this is the Miami delegation.
Yeah, Miami
Okay.
delegation, Miami. Let's do it. I think
Anne
that's
Maria
a lot of notice.
Anne Maria Rodriguez is the chair, and the vice chair is Kevin Chambliss.
Let's get that published up on our page as well.
Let me see if I can I put a Word document in the chat?
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I've done PDFs
Let me
before.
try
Okay.
that.
And then the other one, man, my day just went between my ears. Is November 20th is the Charlotte County one, and the legislators in Sarasota said, "Hey, come to Charlotte County." So I think if you can, those November 20th, November 28th, but really November 28th, because that's Miami, you know, like. That's with our incoming House Speaker. That's an important one. And the Charlotte one, why I re-mentioned that, is Senator Albritton, who's going to be our new Senate president next year. He's going to be at the Charlotte County one. So could do a Senate party and a House party and make it a us party and let it rain.
What's the other one you want? Charlotte?
Charlotte, November 20th.
That link worked perfect. I just opened it up and
you only get 2 minutes in Miami.
Yeah. So
And
you 2 minutes times 2 minutes times 2 minutes. So if you
maybe you have 8 people and you go, we'd like to give our 2 minutes to.
Yes,
JJ.
You can do that.
We're gonna give our 3 hours to JJ.
Yeah.
Transfer your minutes. Okay, yeah, so having an organized effort towards this when you have such a limited format can really make a message be able to be heard.
Charlotte is November 28th. I got that form too. Do you need that?
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, since we're here, thank you.
I think we can start using these and pop them
Hey,
on
I
the
just,
page.
it's Melissa. I just wanted to, I know that I was late. I apologize. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you to everybody who did come to Sarasota yesterday. That was wonderful. If there is anybody that wants to go, I emailed it to the Sarasota people. Anybody that wants to go to the Representative Buchanan's office. He doesn't sit on the Health and, Human Services Appropriation Committee, but he's a senior member. And he sent his aide out to hand his cards out. So I'll go if anybody wants to do that. And then I will be at the Hardy delegation, and Allison and JJ, I believe you guys are still planning on being there. And then Stephanie, I did request the speaker form for Charlotte, so I'll go down there on the 20th. And then DeSoto County is also that same day, just in the afternoon, and it's the same person. So I might just head out to DeSoto after Charlotte. And I will not be able to go to Miami. My kids are flying back to LA that day, and I'm bringing them to the airport, so I will not be able to be down there with you guys. And then Allison, I don't know if you had already kind of disclosed about the next Thursday, the meeting in Duval. I don't know if there's anybody on the call from Duval, but there's that press conference up there that you were telling me about. And that's pretty much all I had. I would like to see at some of the delegation meetings, you guys, I would really like to see some dads coming out and speaking. It's pretty much all moms. And it would be nice to have some of the dads come out and also weigh in at some of these meetings. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. But thank
I
you
can
guys for
also-
what you're doing.
I can also weigh in on the whole dad issue. Because it's important to sometimes communicate that families are forced to divide and conquer. And I might be at home managing the house and he's bringing in the bacon, and sometimes that's the case, sometimes because there isn't one. And I can tell you, so I will reach out and try to engage more dads, but the dads are there. JJ, your dad's engaged. Indeed, he's engaged in fixing the water. He's engaged in keeping a roof over your head. He's engaged. So we always have to remember that it takes a family to make a family, and that we all don't do the same thing, and that we will continue to reach out and recruit people. Reach out to your friends, tell people about share the Facebook page, tell people about this, build the momentum. Paula James out there, I want to thank you for continuing to be one of the historians like me and telling the history and, looking at how family care council is such an incredible element that we have to continue to find ways to encourage and support. And that through this efforts, we are making a difference. We may not change the world right now, but you know what? I know that for each and every child and each and every adult that can speak up, it is making a difference to them. And we're going to continue this. And I want to thank you all.
Hang on. I also, one more thing. So I know we just threw a bunch of delegation dates, but this is one of our moms on the Facebook page did throw a FYI, I'll be in Orlando for a delegation meeting on the 29th, speaking about her son, Jojo. This is Jojo's mom. And she's asking us if you are available on the 29th, will you please come? So if you are around the Orlando area, this mom, been talking to her a lot lately, and I wish I could be there that day. So if anybody can.
Definitely. It's so
Yes.
JJ and I are registered to speak for that for Orange County, so we'll be there.
Do you know Marcia Schlopper?
No.
Okay.
Spencer
Is it
Road.
okay if I connect you two? Because I think that would
Yeah.
be great. Thank you.
But we're definitely there and we're registered to speak. So
Cool.
So,
Okay, that was it. Next
okay,
week,
so
2:00,
2
right?
o'clock.
Yeah.
Stephanie, you get the last word
Hey,
today?
Tom, can I mention one thing?
Please do.
The Department of Labor is having public hearings. I was on one last night. There were like 600 family members. They are, it's obvious they're trying to get rid of 14Cs. That's the sheltered workshops. And I know some people won't be able to work if they can't work there. But if anyone's interested in that, they're doing, because there were so many people there, they couldn't get to them. They set up 2 more times to hear from families. But in Florida, you've already seen, we're down to 28. When they did the settings rule, it got rid of a lot of the employment for people that were at programs, and there's only, I think, 9 right now in Florida. So they're trying to eliminate those. Everyone has different views on it, but I just wanted you to know that that's happening. And if you want to talk about that issue, just let me know and I'll send you the link.
Send the link.
Send
up,
us the link.
Yeah, send us the link. We'll put it up. You know, our goal is to give people a chance to be able to give input, have opinions, and be part of the process. You know, with that being said, it's 7 o'clock. We're gonna go have a weekend, and I want to thank you all and have a beautiful day. And thank you for your time today. Thanks, Stephen. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everybody.
everybody.